raining a lot. We're live
Oh,
now.
God. Okay.
Uh, well, let me see. It might take about 20 seconds to show up on the page.
Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. It's been raining a little bit.
It's very cold here.
It's already up. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I talked to my friend in England today, and it was 8 degrees over there. I'm like 8 degrees.
Oh my God. That's colder than here.
I know. I was like, I didn't know it got that cold up there.
England gets very cold. It gets
Yeah,
very cold.
I've been in New York when it was very cold,
Yes,
and
and we're starting to get that.
I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the time, at the period, well, I was there when I met you. I mean, that was part of the period, but
Yes.
so
Yes.
it was when we met in person, but I don't know, for what I was going through,
Okay.
that part of my journey, the snow and the homeless people in the snow and going out every day with no money and eating dollar pizza and going to the Dominican diner for $5 for a plate. I learned, yeah, it was,
Yes,
yeah,
I
yeah, it
understand,
was.
my friend.
Here, I'm gonna share to.
I'm actually, I can't share to groups, but I will invite because Facebook has me under restriction again. So I'm going
I
to invite some of our friends.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's actually something that they've injected into their algorithms. I say
Yes, it's a
algorithm.
combination of a few things, actually, you know?
Yeah, because I don't share really to groups. I might share to two or three groups at the
Right.
beginning of a show. I don't share to people, and I noticed 3 or 4 days ago they shut me down.
Did they?
And in talking to some other people as well, they got shut down.
Hmm.
So I think the pure love truth frequency is being countered by uh, that which is a part of us for a reason.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. I'm in full agreement with you there.
yeah,
Absolutely. I am. It's interesting because I've been seeing so much happening in the critical mass,
yeah,
and it should be interesting the next 6 to 7 months what really is disclosed.
yeah.
Disclosure. Yeah.
I
So,
think too. I think too. For me, it was like we'll roll the show out in a minute. Thank you, everybody, for your
okay.
patience. There's 13 people here. We're getting about another 30 seconds. I think for me too, on a personal level, but as goes the individual, so goes the collective. And I'm speaking of primarily, I guess, the light keeper circles or the people that are, our peers and colleagues and whatever, brothers and sisters, is that we got to break out of it. That we create our
Absolutely.
way out of it. We don't go up against it. We create our way out of it. So
I think that
uh,
that's a wonderful point because a lot of the light workers, a lot of the people who are working the grid simultaneously, and as the people who are now learning how to use the crystalline energy, the omnipotent energy of the
yeah,
matter and the antimatter, is really coming into play, and the foundation is being laid and the next
yeah,
stage of our work is beginning. And yes, there's many fractals to it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, exactly. All right, let's roll the show out. Let's roll the show out. It's a special, special show. I wouldn't do a show on my birthday unless it was very, very special, especially only being 2 days after my beloved partner got here. So it means a lot to me. And we'll talk about this. Hello, Linda Scott, David Hopkins, Roxanne Smith. And I believe those of you who, I'm not sure the time, but I'm not really sure the time, but Linda Scott's on with Gervais Wright later today. Uh-oh, Teresa popped out.
I popped
She'll
out.
pop back in. Um, so Linda Scott's on with Gervais Wright, or has been on, so you might want to catch that. That should be real interesting. Roxanne Smith, hello. Morgan Lee, Michael Van Patten, Angel Divine. Let's see. Looks like somebody said it was frozen. If it's frozen, go out and come back in. Here she comes. For anybody, sometimes what happens is uh, our device runs out of RAM. You're good.
You
You're
are
back.
on the show. I'm in the show?
Yeah, you're good
The
now.
team and audience can see and hear you. Okay. 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 So I'm following and I'm going along. I feel a little foreign here because I haven't used Be Live in a super long time. So I'm
Yeah,
acclimating, guys.
you're good.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Hello, Angel Divine, Kirsty Jones, Lynn Jones. Let's see. I'll make sure I get everybody. Rosalind Horowitz, how you doing? Let's see. Jody Lee's in the house. Milana's in the house. Louis Machi's in the house. Big thank you to Louis for always being there. Love and support, contribution. Trying Christy Duck, and I think I got everybody so far. We got 21 people in the house. So this is a very special show to me. We're all moving to a higher level, however we want to put it, expanding level, expansion. And so energetically, I know Theresa can relate to this. I mean, in the work that we do, we see energy out there. And of course, the big tightrope is what is that energy us or is that them and all that stuff. But there's been, I don't know, it was 10 days ago or so. And I was seeing this frequency of something you talk about a lot, which I've always been aligned with, and that on a personal level, and that is self-responsibility, or I call it soul responsibility, self-reliance of the soul, in doing our part to alter the collective through our own personal actions and in the energy of our 3D actions. So this is a special edition of Soul Speaks 5D with my beautiful sister Theresa LePre Rivera. And the order of the day and the topic of the day is unity, but not in the old, I don't want to say old, but in the cliched new age light worker, let's call it light keeper, grid keepers, or call it something else, but unity consciousness. And Theresa's words, put your money where your mouth is. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today. And thank you for, on a personal level, for sharing my birthday broadcast today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Much respect given to you and everybody who joins us and the collective consciousness who is working for a change.
Right on.
Absolutely.
That's right on. So, yeah, I mean, we just make it up as we go.
Okay.
And that's what we always do.
Yes.
And I think that, let me just say this first, too. It's special to me, too, because Soulogy's been on a journey for over 7 years and really didn't come online because I wasn't able to until August of 2013. And so that's when I started to meet people, and I became active visually in the Soulogy group. And one of the very first people that began contributing was Theresa, and in a very bold way. And so I always knew that. And then a couple of years went by as we expanded in 2015 and started doing videos, and she was doing videos. So it made it very easy. We've done several shows together, and she's been on quite a few different broadcasts with others, and very prominent in the community. And I say that with the highest respect, because one thing about putting yourself out there is that once you flip that camera on, there ain't a whole lot you can do. So it's warts and all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so big props to you, lady. Big props to you.
Thank you. I'm very humbled by those words. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's interesting. And I was trying to think, I never do this. What are we going to talk about? But I thought, it's always the common denominator that draws my interest. It's because you kind of know the end result, but you don't always know how to get there. I'm speaking for myself, maybe what I observe, but we know we're all one. And of course, that's doesn't do it justice. We're on this journey of oneness. And I think it's the flow of that is what's so profound and mind blowing. But, I've seen you out there, and I see so much of my own frequency in you, sometimes resistant to it and sometimes accepting of it. but I would say, okay, why do I, and it's not just you, but why do I see this energy and feel that way, or see this person and feel that way? So much of what you do, I totally understand. I mean, like totally understand it. And it is about unity, and it is about self-empowerment, and it is about flaws, and it is about realness and rawness, and what you see is what you get, and it is about ebb and flow. And so I totally get that, and I think it's remarkable. So what I was thinking was, because of that common denominator that I know we have, and I know you know we do, is,
Absolutely.
we have so many, because when we get on social media, as we have these last few years, we start to develop relationships, and
Yes.
so many of these people we never see, and, and
Correct.
and 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 actually never hear a voice. And we've met on a couple of occasions,
Yes.
and you're in New York City, and I know a few people have gone there and looked you up, and I've been around the country and such, and I've met people, and it's a very interesting thing. But I do give validity to our abilities, all of our abilities, to see the energy that's actually becoming more and more palpable every day. And I just wondered, to start, like, what do you see out there in this fine line of our natural nature, energetic expression, non-physical, as well as tying that into the polarity, so to speak, of the physical friendships, that where we support each other in the, let's just say, in the place we come from, verbally or in writing,
Mhm.
versus what's actually happening out there. Does that make
Well,
sense?
it makes a lot of sense. And for me, I'm in New York City, y'all, and being in New York City and doing the trench work as I am out there, I see a vast modality. I see conscious people as well as people who are in an awareness, but they're not quite sure where they're leading. So one of the common denominators when we meet people is what I find is the emotion, because anyone who is on an awakened path or an awakened journey must go through the layers of their emotion. In human life, before we get to the ethereal essence of what we have come to expand in, is really something that we ourselves could get confused on. So the common denominator is that I find that most people are running off of emotions. And now this awareness happens. We're working the grid, we're out there. People are hungry for information. Now, my specialty is the mass critical population, because I'm out there, I'm like a catalyst. And in these last years of research, and those of you who know me know that I am a catalyst when I am presenting different types of discussions, but I am also a realist in how the human and the divine intertwine. I have experienced many aspects of shadow, and I do a lot of shadow work. I don't deny that. I am a devotee to Mother Gaia. But when I practice my rituals and I use my crystalline energy, I'm very private about that, only because I know there's many fractals. So in the years as I was uncovering and unraveling within my own self, and I was learning about the crystalline energies, and I was learning about the human heart space, I come to understand where we are at this point within the fractals, is that now the fractals have the opportunity to plug into that crystalline energy, which I have come to realize is the omnipotency of source, which has matter and antimatter, and which actually is in full awareness. So it's very interesting how it's going. And I find now that people are aware that they're in a system that no longer serves their purpose. They want to expand out, and they're realizing that unity comes from working together, getting over our egos, understanding that the divine feminine and the divine masculine had reached a critical point. And now what's happening is that the unions are coming together, and we are expanding out. So any past drama, any past human stuff that we all go through, because we all have that within us, is dissipating. So I'm finding outside of the box, outside of our spiritual community, because that's where I penetrate a lot, that people now are open to the way, which is extremely important for us, because for a long time our community was taken as taboo. But now people are open to us because they see we're intelligent, we are dimensional, we are multi-talented, and we understand the human aspect, but now we're giving away. I don't want to use the word surrender anymore, Todd. I want to use the word trust. We're trusting now, and that's some hard stuff to do. I resisted surrender for a really long time, and I had to have a certain amount of control, because what's plan A when plan's B? Now it's different, you know? So it's interesting to see where this is going to go in the next 6 to 9 months, because you're going to see the people who have been catalysts, who have been working the grids, who have been coming together in their own fractals and learning about their tools, come together and work the energy, and there's going to be a mass global awakening.
Yeah. Let me let the reverb wear out. Hang on. Oh, it's back. Okay. That's excellent. What jumps out at me at first blush is the word trust. You know, I've often said you got to surrender to the embrace, but I love what you said, because everything that you talked about led up to that word, and the frequency of that word, which to me, oh, I'm getting chills. So which to me
too, I'm freezing all of a sudden. I'm like, ooh.
But
and I got the heat blasted.
You know what I'm seeing is that it's like we all came to the proverbial, you know, Monday morning school class one day, and somebody took an eraser and wiped the board clean. And so it's like all the stories, all the dramas, all the programming, all of everything, even in the light keeper, grid keeper circles, is gone. Or it's like maybe there's another board on the other wall, and we all came in and all the seats were turned from looking at the old board to the new board. And the new board's like not a blackboard. It's all green and like, you know, it looks like a pool of water or something. I don't know. It's just what you said about the trust. And so that at the end of the day, what happens is we're not even looking at that other board anymore. We're just looking at this thing that's been kind of materializing, fragmented. Now it's got a little cohesion. And now there's enough people jumping in that pool of magic that somebody just put up a comment a minute ago that those who weren't are now becoming curious at a minimum, which is a pure characteristic of the soul, curiosity, you know, to creation and that type of thing. But yeah, so it's almost like everything, it was relevant, now it's irrelevant, and now we're all headed in this other direction that's kind of like becoming like a tsunami.
It is a tsunami because, you know, I was just going back the other day, and I was looking at some research that I have been doing over the years. And I realized that our numbers have grown, but they have grown in such a solidarity now that people could step out. Oh, and I don't know why I'm freezing. I got like this chill in me.
Yeah,
energy is going on.
It's the non-physical connection, man, with all the people watching.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I find that those validations of tones and chills are just nothing but truth, you know.
Absolutely, I find that too. But I am seeing that people are now finding their voice.
Yeah,
they're letting go of shame and fear. Yeah. As they step into a paradigm that allows the collective to come together on what I call an eco chain, because we're thriving, and each person, each fractal of people that are together are working in trinities, and they're actually are going to attest to their stories and say, look, this is what we're doing. This is how we're changing it. And yes, it's hard work, but there is a miraculous energy, a miraculous vibe that comes along with it. And no, we don't always get it right. Oh, excuse me, guys. This never happens to me. Excuse me. But we're doing it, and we're powerful, and we can expand into a great millennium. And I see it coming. I see it coming, and I'm cool with that. You know.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what does the Trinity? I love that word. What is the Trinity? And by the way, let me just break in real quick and tell everybody we have been shut down pretty much on Facebook. So it usually takes half an hour for people to come in. So please, if these shows resonate, please share when you come in. Thank you very much. But what I was going to say is the Trinity is a very powerful word to me and has been triad as time's gone on. What does that look like to you in our transition? How does that look like from your perspective, or as you observe other people's perspective, and you see that sacred geometric vortex, materializing?
So to articulate in human and go into divine essence, the best way to articulate it is the power of three. The power of three working together in integrity, in respect, towards a common goal, and pure intent. The intent has to be pure. If the intent is not pure, then it actually can become distorted. But we have enough knowledge and we have enough awareness that we can work the grids like that. And then you'll see numbers like 3, 6, and 9. But let's go with the least common denominator of 3. So people are now using their alchemy, their gifts that they have mastered, and they're working in these small clusters, and they're using the intent and they're moving things, whether it is a situation, whether it is working towards a goal, whether it's laying down the grid work for Mother Earth. And now what's happening is the frequency is interlocking with others. And they're attesting their stories and they're telling the tribulations that are happening within their groups, and they're becoming stronger. Because for a long time, what happens with energy that I have come to observe is that when the fractals get together and we are in pure love and pure intent, and we are working those grids simultaneously, our energy could change the global condition. And that's why it's most important for the fractals now to come together. Start learning about the Trinity. Start doing your intents with a pure heart. Know that what's above is below, but we are all on this journey together, making a change. And especially a lot of us have done deep shadow work. I have. So I'm not ashamed to say that the polarity is something that we learn about because we are transmuting it. So that's how the Trinity works, and that's how I see it become more successful. And you're going to see a lot of it now. A lot of it.
I see that as a great explanation. It's a fantastic explanation. And of course, to me, I see like the Trinity's inside, right? So to start, we're not talking so much about that. What you said was perfect because we're in this transition. But so I see the two corners, of course, is masculine, feminine, and then this third one is like the universe, basically, the way I see it. This is just me, though, and so what I love about what you're saying is, and it's very clear, it's very simple, pure intention, 3 come together, and that's a Trinity in the physicality,
right.
And that has repercussions through the physical, the non-physical, to include every dimension and timeline outside of this realm, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's very refreshing to hear that, and also another thing that I see, and I'm saying this on a personal level because I know this is more than a conversation between two friends that have been out there in very similar roles. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is that in my own right, what I see in the mirror that I'm looking at too, is the tenaciousness that no matter what, because again, like I said at the top of the show, what I see in you, and I'm not saying this is good or bad in myself, I'm saying the same thing. It's me, and compared to other people, is like me. You just kept putting it out there. You just kept
Yeah.
putting it out there every day. You're putting it out there, and it's not always perfect. I wasn't always perfect, and I'm still not. But what I'm saying is that tenacity to continue to move towards the trajectory of oneness, and not just say it, is very evident in your words and your description of the Trinity, which I would almost describe the exact same way through the experience I've had. But it's just amazing. And I would draw another example would be like the um, the sacred geometry that you, Sevi, and Ryan put together. Okay,
Yes, that was a
so
powerful experience. Very
yeah,
powerful.
yeah, and so to tie it up, you made the comment that sometimes the Trinity takes on these physical experiences, these shared interactions, and
Yeah.
to maybe make a correction from the 3D to a higher level, whatever. But it also is in these expressions, like you, Ryan, and Sevi did, because that carries an energy that may be wordless, but it has an impact on the grids that you're speaking of.
Yes, because it changes the DNA cellular structure. And that's what we really want to do. Because I have found, like I go deep. When I'm off camera and I'm in sacred ritual, I'm deep. My hands are in every little thing, right? Because I'm a catalyst myself and I want to experience. So words for me were never good enough. It's like this drive. And I'm not afraid to misstep because I realize if I don't misstep, then how am I going to learn? And I have found that, this empowerment that is in us, what is overlooked a little bit is the humanness of it all. Because what we tend to do is we tend to go out to the divine and we tend to sometimes give our power away to planetary influences. Meanwhile, we overlooked that there's this little key of the humanness that triggers everything. Because one of the things that we have the opportunity of changing and feeling is that we could feel it in the flesh, our divineness in the flesh, to get optimum use of it. And that's hard to do. I admit that. It's very hard to do. But it teaches us something about not only ourselves, our capabilities, other people's capabilities, and through the madness of it all, how great we really could be.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
a lot of things happen emotionally. I get off the camera. I still Theresa that has to take care of errands, it has to take care of business, and still keep a sacred space in a metropolis that has thousands of people when I'm in the city. When I'm in the city, it's thousands of people, and I'm balancing that energy.
Yeah.
But awareness is always with me because
Yeah.
it breathes, it lives.
Oh yeah, New York is a great place to fast track. I can tell you
Oh,
that from personal experience. You know,
absolutely.
so the daily would even be, but yeah, and somebody asked a question, and it reminded me, in my relationship with Morgan for 3 years, she would say, because I love what you said about, we give our power away to a planetary aspect or celestial body or whatever. But what is the difference? Because they all teach us, what is the difference between that and giving it away to a person and one end of the spectrum to another? So what I was getting at is I love what you said about the humanist thing, because she would always tell me nothing is real until you embody it. And so
She's a smart woman.
over this relationship, I would come back every 3 or 4 months. I'd say, now, what do you mean by embody? And so I was getting it at different levels, now that I look back now, but I never really got it until maybe 6 months ago when I started to own my emotions and,
Yes,
and,
big
and my,
part
and
of
because,
everything.
yeah. So like I would call her and I'd say, this happened and I'm mad. And, she'd say, do you want to fix it? And I'd be like, no. I want to be mad. But not projecting out mad, but just sit in my room and feel anger and feel pain or feel jealousy or feel whatever it was, and just feel it and not separate myself from it, but basically to integrate it into my heart as the same as everything is the same energy, but to see the gift of it. And to this day, I still don't understand it, but I know one thing, that I'm closer to totally understanding and embodying, because it's to me an endless thing, because it involves far beyond things that I can even understand, galactic and celestial and such. But yeah, I think that's a huge part of it, and I still stand by the hashtag human is the hero, because like you said, what did you say? There's something about the human that basically activates it all.
Absolutely, because we're given the opportunity. I think where we sometimes fall short just a teensy weensy bit is, and I would agree with Morgan 100%. We tend to give our power away, whether it's celestial, whether it's people, whether it's situations that we are tied in with. And what happens with this transition, what happens with an embodiment, even though could be uncomfortable, even though it's the shadow self, at times, balancing what we feel. And I say balancing because if you don't filter it, you can never balance. And I feel that once we understand the human capability of mind and heart really working together, that is the divinity in itself activating, because you could feel it in the flesh. Not many astral beings get to feel this in the flesh. That's why this planet is a commodity. And that's why we're given this opportunity to branch out. But again, we were stagnated. The divine feminine was suppressed. The divine masculine went out of control. Both had responsibility. Now we're coming together. We're peeling it away. And we're coming and we're saying, look, what happened, we cannot change. But we, moving forward, can streamline the ancient ways and take it all back.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking it back. We're taking it back within our collective groups. We're taking it back individually. We're looking at all aspects of self. We understand the duality of it all. And you know what? We're learning about our ego along the way. What it could do. You know what I mean?
Or it's teaching us. I'd put it that. Now, going back to the Trinity, going back to unity consciousness, and going back to what is also a part of that. I mean, they're all synonyms, synonymous. Is service to the collective, service to others. So, and I've been downloading for a few months, whatever, this 5D commerce thing. I mean, it's not really words, it's just, and the function of, in my world, Soulogy and what that is energetically. And I'm starting to see this Trinity, involve energies that are not one single human being, right? So, and I don't see it like everything else in this ascension. It didn't come with an owner's manual. There's no directions here, but there is that inner knowing. But now it's involving energies of organizations, which would be two or more. Let's just put it that way. How do you, I mean, I know this, but what do you see happening there in these energies that are forming, such as Hope Evolve, such as Soulogy, such as two or more? It could be a couple, it could be a lot of things, and even individuals thrown in there too, because energies in themselves, or individuals in themselves, can put out an energy that becomes something in and of itself, because it's a frequency, it's an energy that people start to build on, a consciousness. How do you see, or what are your thoughts on these energies co-oping with each other and using the potential of the limitless potential of the triad?
Okay. I have, those of you who know me know that I always speak honestly and directly, and I always do it with respect. And I'll do the same right now. In what I see happening in the next over a 10-year period, I'm gonna broad spectrum this, is that using these trinities coming together, the collective consciousness who has the opportunity through an awakening, through a self-discovery, through a heart change, a mind change, will globally come together, and the world as we know it now will pass away. Because through our heart and our soul, changing a paradigm will no longer only be in our small communities. We will globally put together our own elite system that will allow our consciousness and pure love and intent through hard work to change the global system. And yes, for many people, they will play many different roles. But as we evolve, as we become stronger, as we work together, every fractal, because hope is a fractal, rise up is a fractal, Soulogy is a fractal, that brought people together. We're conduits, right? We will now integrate our work and begin to implement to live in harmony, to understand that our relationship with the sacred divine, the Gnostic ways, ancient Egypt, working the grid simultaneously would be in unity for our coexistence in this planet. I see it that way. I see it that way. I see it happening.
Yeah. And I love what you said at the beginning of it, because without that, you've got nothing. And that's where you said, you're coming out of the blocks to address the question. And you're saying it's from a change of heart, so to speak.
Yes.
Or thinking through the heart, or, leading from the heart. So it's that personal alignment that drives the whole thing. And I'm just looking at this thing and I'm wondering, that in itself is so profound that, as above, so below, within, without, that is so profound that is the core of the Trinity. Okay. And if it could be nothing simpler than each of the individuals doing that. And the rest just happens in the natural order of things. And the less we try to frame it up and produce it and deadline it and linear it, the less we do that, the more we get out of the way. It's just a natural evolution, because the core, the seed of the creation energy itself that's come out of an individual is that powerful.
It is powerful. It's very powerful, and I see it going in that direction. And that's why, as we are coming more into wisdom, knowledge, and there's different levels, you will see some people push more, and not push in a negative way. But now, because we are living this in this amazing, amazing time frame, we are pushing, okay, how is your tools now? How do we bring it back to earth, and how do we incorporate it? How is your communication with divine beings helping you? And if you're searching, we want you to explore and expand even further, because we want you to know that you are the instrument that the divine is working through, right? And it's a catch-22, because I call it the knowing. It's the awareness for some people, it's higher consciousness, it's the connection with source, all have felicity. But the truth is that when you are in this knowing, there's this detachment that happens to you, not in a positive way, not in a negative way. You can't define it like that. It just simply is there, and it allows you to step. It allows you to see. It allows you to do. And the more you get in touch with that omnipresent, the crystalline energy, the people who are watching the gates, there's many fractals. As you come more into the knowing, even that that level seems to it doesn't mean so much because now you're dealing with source directly. And you simply know. You simply know the duality and you simply are. And it's really scary in the beginning because like sometimes you're like, what the heck is going on, you know? Or did this just happen? And wow, all these years, this was leading up to this, and now I can confirm it. And I see a great change happening within humanity. I see that profoundly. And I give credit to each person that contributes. I also stand very, very, very strong on things that mislead and misguide people, because after a certain while of amount of time that goes by, we just step naturally and we could see, and all that drama and all that misstep and all that craziness, you don't have time for any of that because it takes away from everything. And you're like, wow, did I participate that yet in yesteryear and stuff like that? And then you see the insignificance of it. And then it becomes every day you want to be a better person, and you're for the mission, you're for the good of the collective. Because no matter what's going on with me, it never interferes with the grid work that I do. Whatever I'm feeling, I'm still doing my work.
Well, yeah. Well, what we do, you know, what we do and what people think we do, and I'm talking about all of us, not anyone, not me and you only, what we do and what we are perceived to have done, or what we might even portray to being done, are different. What we do, the universe sees, period, end of story. Nobody gets out. We all show our ass. I mean, it's me and the universe. That's all there is to it. And the other thing that brings up to me, though, what you were talking about, and going back to the Trinity and how we inject it into these energies that have become energies in and of themselves beyond individuals, as we grow or expand this grid. It's never been expanded before. Like you said, it's a commodity to be here because it's such a special place. But what I was going to say is that it still starts with the heart, right? And we'll use these terms: the heart. You said the change of heart, or leading from the heart. And so, having said that, there also seems to be, what's happening from where I'm sitting and the work I do, is it's not the words. I mean, like, obviously one of the main show we have on the network is this talk show, Soul Speaks 5D, but it's not the words. I can have a Jason Estes on who's talking this, 13D. I mean, it's like, boom, like crystal pyramids times the 369. And then you could have Dr. Joe on today, who's talking about the body's relation. You can talk about people that come on and talk about their paranormal experiences or whatever it is. But what I'm seeing is, it is the heart. It's the output of the heart. It's the intention of the heart of the intention that actually is, I'm seeing, that is actually what people are grabbing onto.
It's the action.
And, yeah,
it's the activator.
It's the activator.
If you talk honestly with people, and just talking in general, because I talk to an array of people on many different levels, and it's always, for the betterment of humanity. But when you are talking on that array, you have to listen sometimes. And I think that one of the biggest things that's difficult for the human being who is going into the heart space in the beginning, when the beginning changes are happening, is to come to the realization of how wicked the heart could be, if unintended. And when I say wicked, I don't necessarily mean evil. What I mean is that it's afflicted by jealousy, greed, shame, all those things. And when you go into it and you are looking at that and you realize that you yourself carry that, right? It's nothing to be ashamed of. This is how it happens for everybody. And then you start making those changes and you start going in, and there's that resistant period. And then there's that period of, saying, well, no more resistance. We have to make a step, whether it's a baby step, whether, for me, it's jumping in by fire all the time, and we start to change it and understand it. That's when the Trinity begins to work.
Yeah.
Because it's the honesty of soul, the honesty of self, the ability to rise up, as you would say, do a soul walk and really just go into yourself. But what happens is we're eager to impress, or we're eager to tell our stories, and we're eager to fit in. And, we don't know sometimes what the hell is happening to us, and all very valid, because these are things that we saw through. These are things that we graze upon as we are looking for the brighter pastures, right? And then we start to say, okay, this is a working thing. Now I work, now I can understand. And then it's very easy to understand other people as well as yourself, because now you understand we are one, has a duality.
Yeah.
And you
And
want to
I think the two things come to mind. One is another thing that I learned from my lady over 3 years that I resisted was, what is resistance? Was if there's something that makes you uncomfortable, it is active in your field. So as I went through my as I've gone through my journey, as ing, as I'm going through my journey, I started to pull people in, after, doing a lot of this, myself, uh, to integrate and to equalize. But in the daily interactions, which is how this thing is moving now that it's quantum, everything is right in your face, right in your face, right in your face. And we have the opportunity to deal with it in that moment.
yes.
I found that the things that I'm looking at, or the people I'm looking at, that made me uncomfortable is where my gold was.
Yeah.
It's where my gold. So at the end of the day, I started to look at drama. I started to look at drama differently, and I started to look at it like this: drama is the last bastion of judgment. Because the only thing after that is my own self judgment, and we all know we're hardest on ourselves. But so I would look at these things and say, how can I get to a point where I no longer have judgment? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the relevancy of what you said at the beginning, and we've reiterated a couple of times, which is it's all about, and it sounds so cliche, but leading from the heart. This is a feeling. I asked this kid, Dane Jones, what is the he's 22 years old, lives over on the beach in Palm Beach. And I said to him, what does the ascension look like to you? He said, dude, it don't look like nothing. It feels. And that really, such pure, innocent wisdom from a young person, that it doesn't need all these words. It's just, actually, that's what it is. I just feel. And so that's the what'd you say? The activator, the initiator of the Trinity,
It's
finding that frequency within ourselves and then taking it outward. And to me, it just seems like we start it within ourselves, and it looks to me like it's all just happening naturally if we maintain that core.
yes. And maintaining the core sometimes is hard to do when you are um, individuals or family units, and you're getting through life, or you have children, you're raising children, and you want to be aware and you want to do the best. So, for people who have time to dedicate more, it is something that we see constantly. But now, as catalysts, we're going out amongst our people for voices, as voices to people who want to hear or want a change of heart. And, it really is something that, like I said, I live in New York. I see a lot of things, guys, a lot of things. And I am very aware of all things. And, you know, when you look at some people and the struggle is so real to them, and so many things are happening that they can't see 10 foot in front of them, and here you all, you want to extend the hand. They don't necessarily want to hear, we all signed the contract and this is the way it is and blah, blah, blah. They don't want to hear that. They tell you to screw off, actually, and like rightfully so.
Well,
So,
sometimes that's kind of like everything that happens for a reason. I'm like, yeah, stick to
okay,
the
come on now, let's get a little bit like,
but there is a reality to it there.
there is a reality to that. But as people now who are working this Trinity, we are seeing, the steps that we could help embark on with other people. And that's really where it's at, because it's a job, it's a dedication, it's a life passion. It's remembering when we need to remember those energies that once took us down to the abyss. And I think as people who are playing roles, that we should remember that. Like I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, look, not everybody wants to lead, because sometimes the reality of their own current situation is that they want to be at peace but contribute. Other people want to lead because they have the strength to understand, let me help you out of that abyss. Let me just go there. Then there's other people who come in and they're nurturing with love. So that modality and that train of thought that I interjected at the beginning of the fractals coming together is most important now too. Because it means, okay, I get you. I get what the codes mean. I get everything that everybody is saying, including myself, but it won't mean jack if we don't utilize this and come together now and lay it down. Because this is part of what we do, not only for ourselves, for the generations to come. And that was the thing.
Well, I mean, and I think, and I still want to go back to the because it's always, you can take the 2,000 words or whatever spoken in this 1 hour, and I can think of 1, 2, 3 words. That's all we need, because it is so much feeling. But and that is that you have, if I look at what I talked about at the beginning of the show in terms of my relationship with you and my observance of you in 5 + 6 years in Soulogy and your evolution. I admire the fact that you get up and you go to work every day. And I also know that at the core of that is your own transformation and expansion, regardless of what anybody sees. And that's why people can maintain an expanding frequency of growth, of expansion, that other people grab onto in a wordless kind of way, in an almost unconscious kind of way. So, I think that what I love about what's come out of this broadcast is the fact that you brought up the Trinity and that you explained it so well, and that really at the root of it, I mean, it's almost like, hey, if you want to make a Trinity, there's only, it's not really true to say there's only one Trinity, but if you take care of that Trinity in yourself, the rest is just going to come to you, man. I mean, it's just like, just that little, what do they call that? What Tesla's activator or whatever. I forget what
person. I am first, guys, with names and remembering things. It's like when the divine knowledge comes to me, it comes to me in the now. If anybody was to ask me, do you remember that name, or do you remember what just happened? I got to go like, guys, I'm ditzy in my humor when it comes to that,
Yeah. I think there's and I think what that really ultimately brings to the table is we are the priority. Ourself is the priority, because if we love and expand ourselves as a priority, the rest, it happens effortlessly, naturally. We gravitate to what is the vibration we are, and and by doing that, we're allowing the rest of the fractals that have a closer, more homogeneous makeup to be together. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's just a lot simpler than I think we have believed and tried to explain and do for the last few years. It's become simpler, and it's really about to thine own self be true. It's about us, because if we take care of us, our highest hopes, our highest desires, our willingness to serve the collective and our loved ones and all that will take care of itself just by the energy that we put out there.
It's we're a trip. Human beings are a trip, and then coupled with our divine essence and what we do in the process, once we start streamlining it, we can be remarkable. But you know what? I know the dark side as well as the light side, and I have such a great understanding for my people. And when people say, sometimes like you push hard, or you just come in at the right moment, and then you know how to bring it down, it's because I truly believe in humanity. I truly do believe. And yes, I know there's a duality, and I know that there's a lot of things that we are changing. And I'm a crusader for that. I'm not afraid to bring up those subjects in my arena. But I do think we're special, and I do think that everybody deserves the benefit of the doubt to live and to be
That's the point.
at peace with themselves
Yeah.
and to be
Yeah.
accepted and to be heard. I
That's
believe that.
that's another way to put it, you know, because I know it's be true is like another way to put it is if you're talking about them or thinking about them or telling me they are not awake, that just tells me that you're spending that much less of your energy on yourself, you know, and you're therefore guilty of what you're, you know, bringing to the table or bringing out to the surface in your own mind. You know, I mean, it just seems to be getting simpler and simpler to me, and I love the fact that you brought up the Trinity and explained it so well because that's really the motor, man. It's like a triangle spinning in the middle of our chest.
Now, if I
You
would have
know,
known this 40 some odd years ago when I knew I was aware and if I was onto things, but I
well,
had to make it difficult in this life pattern, I would have saved a lot of, a lot of grief for myself. But again, it's a learning process, and it's the
yeah,
opportunity to
yeah,
say, yes, I was once there, but now I'm here, and I know where I was then. I know where I am now, and the future could only work through and getting better, even though there might be challenges, because
yeah,
now I could attest. I could attest that we are one and we are love. And even through
mhm,
the craziness, we can get through it. And we can still be our adventurous self, our rebel selves, our loving selves, our passionate self. But now we do it with style and grace and dignity. And we rock
yeah.
those what is it,
Well,
cowboy?
if if you'd have known that 40 years ago, they would have you'd have been walking on water, and they probably would have tried to do something to you.
Probably, right?
Right.
Probably. So,
Well, I just want to say I look forward to more collaborations as we've had in the past. I look forward to integrating the energies of your organization, this organization, other organizations, and people in unity, and actually being that energy. Because I think beyond the words, that's all it really is. It's just really, it's like we've taken that game between ourself and the universe, where there is no lies. There are no. It's just the real deal, and we're starting to, yeah, we're starting to build reflections of that outside of ourselves, which means that everybody ultimately, as the universe told me 6.5, 7 years ago, just act like the universe, or everyone's going to know anything you've ever done, and everything, including every thought you've had and every single thing you've ever done, thought, whatever said in your life. And think about that. On one hand, it's kind of scary, but on the other hand, that like just totally levels the playing field.
freedom. It's
Yeah,
freedom, right? Because it's a clean slate. It's
yeah,
been real. You have a happy birthday. Enjoy
I
your
will.
lovely lady who's
Yes, I will do that.
very,
Hmm.
very smart in handling you, Mr. Medina.
I'm
A
not going to argue with that.
She's a smart woman. You have a beautiful evening with her. Love her endlessly and grow together, because that's what it becomes about.
Thank you for that blessing.
Happy
I
birthday.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
This
Thank you, everybody. Peace out.